Welcome to Beachside Tech Talk. My name is Ian Utilli, and I'm here at 1340 AM, home of Schoolhouse Radio. Today, we're going to talk about the impact of Web3 and AI upon the business and finance world, both the present impact and the future vision. We break this down into two segments. So for the next 20 minutes, myself and my co-hosts will be talking about what's happening in the news today, what things are exciting that are impacting business and finance. And then as we transition to our second segment, we'll talk about our vision of what could be. I am here with my family in the studio. My wife is behind me. I have my 12 and 16-year-old boys, Kenton and Malachi, my brother Dan in the studio. And I'm going to introduce the two that called in, our friends Ted and Nigel. Ted and Nigel, welcome to the program. How are you guys?
I'm great. It's great to be here. Hello, party people. I'm looking forward to the discussion today.
Happy Wednesday.
You actually didn't say Nigel's name correctly. That's
the gratitude champion. The gratitude champion. Kenny, this is day number 2 in a row. Here you are on the radio again. I know he's like, can I do that again? Well, that's the point of Schoolhouse Radio. The point is to encourage local radio programming, both students and teachers across the Monterey Bay and Santa Cruz County. And so our family wants to be a part of setting the tone, right? We want to be the forerunners that people can draft behind and show folks how this can be done in our approach, and then hopefully encourage others to jump in. Dan, happy Wednesday to you.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
We're glad to be here with you.
Happy Wednesday to all that are joining us, listening, watching.
That's right. We are, of course, live here on local radio. I think if you look at the demographic map, we reach hundreds of thousands of homes. Maybe you can even stretch it and say almost 1 million folks, if those folks choose to tune in to 1340 AM. And then, of course, we're live on all the socials, the World Wide Web. Let's dive in. Business and finance. Nigel, you've been working in the business finance world. You've done so much in this world over the course of your career. How are you right now seeing things play out when it comes to all things AI and Web3 and the impact upon your world?
I think as typical with corporate, they're not the first to jump in and engage. It's very different than when you're out in the wild, wild west of entrepreneurship, as I'm going to label it. I think there's a much more structured and siloed approach to AI, but the opportunities are starting to be more adopted. You see bigger and greater investments of time and money and effort into Bitcoin specifically, and other crypto opportunities. I think it's finding its way into the philanthropic space because of some tax advantages that come up and just another avenue to do good. So I think that's going to be a big piece of it. Where I find that the most opportunity lies is striking a balance and removing some of the contradiction that comes with it. I think that corporate understands from a very responsible fiduciary perspective what the impact of data is and the technology and what it can do and can't do, and the pluses and minuses, strengths and opportunities. And I would like to see that more transparently conveyed to the consumer, because a lot is being based on their inherent authority, and I don't know that all the nuances are being explained beyond the convenient narrative or competing interest of making money. Like, for instance, just to give one example, financial institutions are going to make a lot of money just on fees. Bitcoin or cryptocurrency doesn't have to go up or down. They're just going to make a ton of money on fees. And that's a competing interest. And I feel like those types of things are important. And then it's how you're using people's data. The broad stroke of third party, it's not enough. You need to know where your data is going, because there's so much that could come out of that data. And the better you understand that, the more I think we're going to be able to make informed decisions. So that's what I'm finding.
So, Ted, every nonprofit organization, whether it's something like United Way or Second Harvest Food Bank, just meeting the needs of people that are hungry, that need housing, that need support of some kind, social support, or if it's a faith-oriented organization. All of them have a business to run. They all have to manage their finances. And so how are you seeing this play out when you see how yourself and your peers and your friends are managing the nonprofit business, the NGO business? How are you seeing people using AI tools, Web3 tools today in that arena?
Well, there was a big trend of crypto giving that probably is going to come back now that Bitcoin has hit an all-time high, but that kind of like there was a heyday for it, and then it hasn't really resurged back, and everyone was trying to rush to get the crypto dollars and get set up to do that. And often faith organizations are often not leaders in the adoption of technology. It depends. But zooming out a little, one of the trends I'm most excited about that's kind of been happening, pre-blockchain, but now blockchain has the potential to really accelerate it, is the decentralization of whatever you want to call philanthropy, doing good, economic development that's, not just a gentrification, but a revitalization. But for example, like the fact that it's quite easy to transfer money between borders now. You have things like the Wise app, you have things like Remitly. Those are decentralized ledger technology, but I believe they are adopting them now. Make it very easy to transfer money. And I see now people are just, not waiting for government to step in. And you have in the Philippines, you have the money that's remitted back to, family in the Philippines is a huge portion of it. And I see that as a lot of a grassroots philanthropy. Like one of the things they've learned internationally, this doesn't necessarily apply domestically, but giving money to people in a developing country, just giving them cash directly, is kind of like the benchmark of doing good, because they know how to spend that money and they spend it very well. So if your service isn't more effective than just giving them cash, you shouldn't provide your service. And I see that as a decentralization of philanthropy. And a much better way to do it. It's not necessarily even in the category of philanthropy, but that's a trend I'm excited about. And I think with blockchain, it can take it to the next level. And I see a grassroots movement like that is really just able to do so much good, completely transform the way we think of and do what's currently called philanthropy.
Dan, what do you think about the impact of these technologies today across the trades? For the superintendent, the general contractor, whether commercial, residential, or the individual subcontractor, the carpenter, electrician, plumber, or even the one that is on the crew. How are these tools potentially beneficial for folks that might say to themselves, "I'm not techie. I don't even check the email. I barely use a smartphone." But how might they use these tools that are available to them today? What are your thoughts on that?
I really didn't use those tools, so I wish I had more thoughts for you, but I do know that they're using them for project management and things like that. I'm thinking more the Web3 and AI that's maybe coming into blue collar, if you want to talk about the trades. Vocational learning. They're using AR augmentation, and instead of putting the vocational directly into the hands all the time, or having to go out to a site, or going outside and using a property or some of their facility to build a wall or run a piece of pipe or plumbing, they're using an AR. So people can just be in a room and actually put on headsets, and they'll build out a possible scenario for them to use these tools to do installations, install a pipe, put a sink in, or put a wall together, or do the layout, or whatever they need be, and do it via internet, via digital tools. And of course, these vocations are eventually going to have to put hands-on into the field, but most of the learning can be done through this, through classroom, and then through augmented reality, where they're just having to prove themselves to know that the functionality of what they're doing is proper. In other words, you got a box of tools there, and they're going to install a sink or put in an AC or whatever that course may be. They can do it real time right there through a video that actually has their hands moving onto a tool. And so that's going to cut down on a lot of money resources that is going to be for teaching. And then I believe they'll hybrid into that. So, you have a classroom curriculum where you're learning out of the books. You're going to be taking the test. You'll have a little bit of the outside where you'll actually go out to, outside to a site or to a place that they have on site to help train you. And then a lot of the skills that you'll learn physically will still be done in augmented reality. So I think that's a great place to start.
Yeah, speaking to my generation and parents in general, I think that we are at the very end of this current education system. It's been around for a long time, where you have a single teacher teaching way too many people, which worked before because you don't really have the resources to have so many teachers. But now we don't need to have one teacher for 20 students, because you can just have robots and AI soon be able to do that for you. And so I think I'm really excited to see where that goes. And I hope that parents and students can try and push for that to happen sooner, because things will just progress so much quicker if we decide to help it progress.
Well, the business and finances of education are definitely in motion. The Federal Department of Education apparently might be disbanded, which would put the pressure on the states. Some parents and some students want to go to public schools, some don't. Private school is quite expensive on top of the taxes that parents already pay for their kids to be able to go to a public school. But if they choose to send their kid to Twin Lakes Christian School, as Kenton goes to, it's 5 figures a year, every single year. Monte Vista, which you just were at, again, that's 20 grand. There's Valley Christian School, which is one of the top schools in the nation, is right over the hill in San Jose. I think it's like 30 grand there. And so it does become a question of does that financial model work? Now you're going to be going to Oasis, which is a public school. And so now you're going to be able to take Cabrillo college classes for free for 2 years. And you're going to be able to take Oasis
happening a lot more.
So the question is, where does the business and finance world, how do they make a sustainable model when it comes to things like education? Kenny, we were just talking in the car about your business ideas, and you were turning to AI, basically looking for ideas like, hey, AI, how do I at 12 years old legally make money? What can I do on social media? What can I do with services? How can I make money so I can buy a car when I turn 16? So tell us a bit about your experience using an AI tool and asking questions to try to figure out what could I do to actually make money the next few years to be able to buy a vehicle.
Yeah. So right now what I'm doing is I'm on social media, TikTok and YouTube, and I'm trying to make the best videos I can that will attract people who watch social media to get views, likes, subscribers, followers. And in that process of making the videos, I use AI. I mostly use ChatGPT, which is what I found the best tool to use for social media things like what I do. And I've used ChatGPT for this thing called Bulk Create on Canva. And it's basically where I asked ChatGPT to make a table format thing for me where I have 5 rows of 30 videos, let's say. So I have a table format and I ask it to make me 5 different paragraphs of something about my niche on the video. And it'll make this whole entire table format of those 5 different things of 30 different videos, and I can just import it right into Bolt Create on Canva, and it'll make 30 videos for me really quick. All I have to do is just make the first video, put audio on it, put the background on, put the topic on, and everything like that. And then it'll make every single other video for 30 days for me to put on social media so I can be super consistent to make money on social media. That's how ChatGPT helps me a lot.
It's pretty fascinating that Kenny, at 12 years old, is now able to compete with the 21-year-olds that are trying to figure out how to make a living on social. Ted, you mentioned that you have a cool example of AI being used in the business finance world around trades with the philanthropic impact. So why don't you share that with us?
Yeah, it kind of brings a lot of the things that we've talked about together. It's a friend of mine, Bruno Freitas, and he's a beautiful example of decentralized social impact. He's the pastor, the outreach pastor of a church in San Francisco. And, it's a volunteer position, and he loves homeless, and they go out regularly, weekly, and just serve the homeless around their church. It's quite dramatic because they're in a place where there's a lot of people on the streets. You get near their church and you see there's nobody on the streets around their church. And it wasn't because of draconian efforts. Like sometimes they'll put out bright lights and that'll, deter people from camping. It's just from loving the people, and they're getting their lives transformed. So that's what he loves to do. The way he pays for that is he's a general contractor and, does landscape and all that. Well, now he's launched an AI company, and because of the new infrastructure, he can partner with people who are in Africa or others to develop this AI tool. And this AI tool goes into you take a picture of your backyard or whatever you want to develop. AI tools are very good at designing. Only his platform doesn't just design it. You interact with it, choose the design you want, and then it will write the quote, and it has the relationship. So it's almost like a combination of an AI, design thing and Amazon for sourcing all of the contracts to buy the material. So it saves the contractor tons of time, tons of money. They can make the quote right there rather than spending several hours. It's like, in one visit. And all of this he's doing. And in the process of doing that, like what his heart is in doing the landscape is he wants to hire others. He's an immigrant himself. He came under he was he and his wife were fleeing human trafficking. And he and his sister, at the time they came over when they were young. So he's hiring other guys that really need help. And rather than giving them a handout, he's giving them a job and transforming them, a lot of the reentry population. So now he gets to focus on mentoring people. And all these tools are empowering this. Those type of things where the synergism and crossover, and now you're empowering just a guy who's not uber wealthy, far from it. He's just a businessman, a trades guy, but you're empowering him to make the social impact he desires. The more we can do stuff like that, that's when we can really change the world. That's what really gets me fired up about the technology.
I love getting to hear all the fantastic ways that there's so many amazing stories of people who decide that they're not going to fail. We can, no matter where you're from, like we've been listening a lot to that song by Jelly Roll recently called Bloodline, where he's saying that you don't have to follow your past or where you came from. You can be your own new person now in this present moment. And I love getting to hear stories like that.
The other thing that makes me excited, though, is what Kenton was just sharing. Man, I need Kenton to mentor me.
Kenton, you want to start a mentoring business?
Yeah.
I'm serious. I need you to help me on social media and TikTok and all that.
Kenton's like, so if you want to make money at 12 years old, this is how you do it.
So Nigel, any news stories that you've noticed lately in terms of how Web3 and AI is impacting the business finance world?
I haven't seen, other than Bitcoin going up quite a bit. I haven't really seen anything that's going to be particularly noteworthy in my space. I think that with the stuff that's already been shared, and what I would love to see actually is more opportunities where um, businesses partner with enterprising young people for philanthropic efforts. I feel like there is so much opportunity to use AI tools to collaborate. Like finding those sweet spots is easier than ever. I mean, you think about what Kenton described before. What he described 3, 4, 5 years ago was a whole job that he just articulated and he could do right now. So the advancements have come a long way, but that same tool can be also used to what are the connection points? What are the connective tissue between what Ted's doing philanthropically, what Kenton is doing to use AI, and big business wanting to participate in that and use that in some maybe marketing way or to brand build or something like that, and really bring all of those things together for a greater, bigger win to make what we have bigger and better.
So all these tools are available for anybody to apply, whether you're 12 or if you have thousands of employees or massive budgets, massive influence. These tools are available. I often wonder if it's easier for someone like Kenny, that's young, that doesn't have anything to lose, for him or for Malachi, or for a younger person to dive in and use these tools. Do you guys think it's challenging for people that already have a business, employees, clients, partners? There's already structure in place. So for Dan and Ted and Nigel, what do the three of you guys think about? How do we motivate people that already have something in motion to be open-minded to trying these things out?
I'm going to jump in and just say that first it starts with the acknowledgement that the opportunity exists. If you don't recognize something or you don't know that it exists, or just willfully ignorant, it's not going to help. No amount of talking is going to bring. I think that realization has to come full circle. This is possible, and show it in a very tangible way. That's why I am such an advocate of what I'm seeing more in news stories is the advocacy for pilot programs. Because when people see a tangible example of anything, leadership by example to me is the best ever. Because it's self-explanatory, it's undeniable, it's unimpeachable. This person did this thing. This is what they used. Look at it. The best marketing is go look. And I think that is going to help to open people's eyes to it. And then there's another component, which is using all the resources, what we're doing with what we have. So what Kenton is doing, I would love to see amplified by a bigger business or a philanthropic organization. I like what you're doing. Here's how we could do more together. Where does that come in? And then show the example and then move into that realm. Because when people see it, they're more likely to engage, in that way through that example.
Well, my friend Chris Chandler said, Kenny is crushing it right there on LinkedIn. Thank you, Mr. Chandler. We're going to head to a commercial break, and we'll be back again with our second segment, which is our chance to cast a vision of what could be. Thank you for joining us here at Beachside Tech Talk, 1340 AM KMY, home of Schoolhouse Radio in La Salva Beach, California. We'll be back again in just a moment.
Nice.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Thank you for tuning in and giving us your attention. We're here on KOMY. Yes, KOMY 1340, based out of Monterey Bay Area, where a lot of stuff happens in the business and finance world. And that's what we're talking about today. We're going to be talking about the future and what amazing things can happen. So I kind of want to just throw it to anyone who wants to speak, because there's so much awesomeness to talk about.
I'll go speak.
Go ahead, Kitty.
So also one thing I forgot to say when I was talking before the break was I wanted to tell everybody that AI isn't just an online thing. AI can help you with physical businesses, meaning at my age, a lot of kids knock on doors to mow lawns or go power wash driveways or go clean cars or something like that.
Mhm.
Right now, me and my friend are looking at going and cleaning cars, doing car detailing for some money and to get my $10,000 goal at 16 to get a car. I think that AI could really help with that, at maybe looking at what's the best tool to buy for cleaning the car, or what's the best soap to buy, or most absorbent towel, something like that. Or maybe even AI could tell you what kind of houses or what kind of people you should target to make the most money.
Yeah,
Something
AI
like
doesn't
that.
just have to be digital stuff.
I totally agree.
And would you take cryptocurrency? So let's say you and your friend go there, use AI to build your detailing business, and somebody says to you, hey, you're young. I'll send you, instead of whatever it is, $20, $100, and give you cash, I'll send it to you in Ethereum or Bitcoin or this, whatever cryptocurrency token. Would you guys accept that?
I totally would, but I don't know if my friend Ryan would. I mean,
Okay, he's out.
I had some
But-
kids come by just the other day and they painted the number on my sidewalk, on my, on the curb, the number of our house, and they charged $20. They had like 5 guys there though, so they didn't make much money once you divide it all up, but they did a
$4
good
a guy.
job. It's another idea.
$4
Kenton.
for
Probably
20
$1 for
seconds
4
of
guys.
painting.
One dude went home with 16.
Probably. But that's another idea, Kenton. I mean, it's $20. It took them probably less than 30 minutes.
Yeah, I've heard of that one. I've been looking at a lot of YouTube videos on how to do stuff like this, and also AI. AI also told me that's a good idea to do, and yeah,
I mean, it's pretty amazing that we all have the resource of YouTube and the entire internet to be able to just find things. Like me and Dad, you and I, we've talked so much about the way that resources have changed over time. Like before, you have to just go to the library, and that takes a lot of time, and it also that's just much more difficult and time consuming. And then you had this microcomputer in your pocket that you can grab and just research anything. And now you have AI, which is just, I can just ask it a question as if I'm talking to someone who is really educated in it. And so this new resource is so useful. And then if you want to learn something that's more in depth, you can find a YouTube video. But then say your YouTube video is like 30 minutes and you only got 10. You can just copy the link, throw it in one of the AI summarizers, and it gives you the whole thing to read. You don't even have to listen to it. Like there's so many ways that the entire concept of Web3 with this new internet that you are able to own and the concept of AI that you're able to interact with the internet now, it's just so useful. And I just can't wait to see the ways it progresses through robotics and just being used even more widely.
Hey, I have a question for Kenton and Malachi. Like you're talking about resources. I know like now, like as far as an athlete, like I didn't have YouTube to go Google, Hakeem Olajuwon's moves. Like now I can go study Hakeem Olajuwon, and if I put some time on, it's almost like he's personally training me. Okay.
Yeah.
Or whoever, choose your player. That was my guy who I just loved the way he played. Okay. I didn't have that, and like it wasn't really until like my senior year in high school that I really started to get training that was good for my position. And even now, like it's just like the knees over toes guy, all that you can learn. So that's one factor that really benefits the younger people. But something, and I don't know if this is just me being a sourpuss because I'm old now, but it seems like when I go and play against young guys, there's not the same level of hunger. And I've heard other people say it, like, and maybe this is basketball specific, maybe they want to climb walls now, but it seems like there's not the same, like the love of the game, and like they're not in playing as hard and wanting to go, like I'd drive anywhere to go play where the good competition was, that was like, and you had to kick me out of the gym. Of course, I was an outlier at the time, but it seemed like that was more of the normal. I'm just wondering what your opinion is that. And I'm wondering if it's a function of like you have so much, but you don't value it as much.
You can tie that to really anything. And we're here talking about tech, and the way that it ties into tech is like before you have libraries, and that's all you have. And so you value it as if it's the most thing that you do have, because it is. And so going over to the library is something that makes sense. But now we have jump all the way to AI, and it doesn't take me 15, 20, 30 minutes to get a small bit of information. Now it takes me 5 seconds. Or maybe that's a little exaggeration. Now it takes me 5 minutes, and I've learned really in depth. But we almost like don't value it as much. Like I find myself sitting there like, I don't really want to look it up because that's going to take so long to write the prompt. It's like, dude, what would I rather do? Go on the internet and then try and search through like 4 different websites until I find something that kind of makes sense, that's slightly related. Like, this is amazing, and I almost undervalue it because it's so common. And so I think that can also tie into the way that people start to undervalue like sports or something because there's other things. And it's just a part of the human condition.
I think that acknowledgement is what is so important. So, Kenton, the thing you said about which towels are the most absorbent is a perfect example of utilizing AI in its best form, I think. And Malachi, your acknowledgement that you see the value of it, but you might choose to do other things is also important, because I think it's that holding yourself accountable. And I'm going to throw out a question to you guys. This might be loaded or seem, however. What do you think adults could do better? And why? And I'm going to put myself right in the crosshairs, and your dad and Ted and Danny. What do you think we could do better to help facilitate what what you're trying to accomplish with AI? Oh, and Reza too. She doesn't get a pass. Oh, that's popped up there.
Yeah, Can't you anything you want to say, or me take it?
Watch what you say. Just kidding. Go ahead.
So a lot of things, not a lot of things, I don't know why I said that, but one thing that I think adults could maybe do better is have the motivation. Me at 12 years old, nobody told me to go try to make some money. I looked at some YouTube videos because I have goals in life and I want to set them and I want to achieve them, and I'm trying to make money. I think that, maybe I'm wrong, but a lot of adults in their 20s, they're like, oh yeah, I have to go find a job now.
Isn't there a song that if making money is wrong, I don't want to be right?
If loving is right, I don't want to be wrong.
But yeah, a lot of adults, they go and they're 20 years old or above, and they go and look for a job that pays $20, $15 an hour, while I could be making $10,000 a month because I'm at 12 years old, because I start young and I achieve my goals. And yeah, I think that's one thing to Nigel's question.
I think it's important to realize that you don't have to go into just the normal job space where you oh, I'm out of high school now, or maybe like, oh, I'm a senior in high school now. I have some free time. I'm not in school now. I need to get a job. Okay, I'll just go get a normal job. Oh, McDonald's is hiring. I think that it's very important to realize that you can totally like just go on AI and talk for just 20 minutes, and you'll have so many more options that probably one of them is going to stand out to you, and you realize you actually really turn out to like what Kenton's doing right now. He likes spending time on social media, and now he's finding out that he can do that himself and see if he can give other people the same desire that he's found. And there's so many different ways that you can do that. And I think that I want to just make sure that me and for other people are able to realize that you can use AI to do something that's not just a traditional job.
You can also like if you start out early, you have so many options. I think it's so fun, Kenton, that you say somebody in their 20s is an adult, you know. I look at somebody in their 20s or myself in their 20s and I thought I was a little kid. You know, it's all perspective. But if you start early, you have so many options. Like my son Teo, he just got a traditional job at Home Depot and he chose to work nights because he's like, well, I'm up anyways, you know, I'm a night owl, you know, I'm just doing nothing, wasting my time. Why don't I go there? He likes the job for the very reason that it doesn't engage his, I mean, it engages his brain, but he's not like, it's not a knowledge job. He can just go there, do it. He turns out he's a really good employee. I mean, we kind of thought he's lazy at home, but they think he's a super hard worker. He makes more from working. It works for him and he is saving. And like there was some math, if you work out the math, like if you save for retirement during your 20s for just one decade and then stop and I don't know, give $500 a month or whatever the number is and stop, you only do it for 10 years and just keep it there for your retirement compared to someone who starts in their 30s and doesn't stop, you have like 4x the return. Like, and that's just by numbers. And so here's Teo using the internet age. He learned all this from YouTube. He's the one who told me that study and all that. He wants to be financially independent and he's going at it a totally a kind of hybrid traditional way, but empowered by AI and all this, you know, learning. So that's another really cool thing. I love how you guys are learning more than we. You guys know more than we do. Certainly more than I did at your age.
So we have 8 minutes left on the program, and I want to share. I asked Grok during the break, the new Grok 4. What are some inspiring visions that are being shared right now on the convergence of both AI, these large language models, this voice technology, this automation, and Web3, crypto, DeFi, blockchain, etc. And what's the inspiring vision around business and finance? So here's 5 things that it shared with me. Smarter, decentralized ecosystems is one. Verifiable AI for trusted decisions. A third is autonomous agents redefining enterprise. A fourth is human AI synergy in decentralized worlds. And a fifth is reinvented business models. So let me just take the third one. Autonomous agents redefining enterprises. So what this says here is AI agents will likely supercharge Web3 sales and operations, refactoring code, orchestrating processes, and managing portfolios autonomously, meaning independently of humans' oversight. Dissolving traditional bank offices into adaptive blockchain secured systems that evolve in real time. It's going to be so fascinating to see how many things are impacted in the business and finance world. The question is, today, do we need big banks? And what is a big bank for? We don't hold gold and silver and cash at banks like we used to. Almost every asset that we have, use, borrow against, leverage, lend out, is a imaginary digital asset on some sort of ledger. And so what are these banks going to become? You know, what's going to happen with some of these traditional finance things? What's on your mind, man?
Okay. Funny that you just say that about the banks. I just was reading, I think 2 days ago, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs have invested a few $100 million into onboarding for crypto. So, and actually Nigel and I were having a conversation, I think it was just yesterday or the other day, about that. It is crazy that these high dollar industries, high banking systems have finally approached the adoption factor. Remember, 10, 15 years ago, it was the biggest joke in the world. Just it's Play-Doh money, and it was just like going into your Monopoly game and pulling out a couple of those $500 bills and just thinking that you're going to go and buy something at the store with that.
Mm-hmm.
But now that a coin is worth, over $100,000, the banks have finally said, whoa, okay, wait a minute. We have tons and tons of clients. They invest a lot of money with us, not just through investments, but just through bank holdings. Some older people got $1 million that they've saved up over their life, invested with a Goldman Sachs or a JP or somewhat, a well-known finance agency. Now, these guys are going to set up a wallet package because with all this crypto, eventually we're going to start talking about sooner or later here wallets and the blockchain, and because that is an area that is very difficult, in my opinion, to sort of navigate, because that's where the monies actually flow through, and it is all digital. And that's when you actually start talking about the blockchain, because everything's rolling through the blockchain. But my point to the banking systems, those big Goldman and JP are now hiring their own people, either in-house or even maybe outsourced, to open a giant wallet department. They'll have wallets that are available, and people will be able to put, say, $5, $50, or $100 into just trying it, seeing what it's like. Eventually, they're also going to see that they can interact with each other without having to go to the bank, without having to sign papers, and they're going to be able to start trading these currencies between themselves. So the financial department is, those big banks are able to buy a Bitcoin at whatever the cost is today, set up, hundreds or thousands of wallets, offer them to their clients free of charge. There's going to be a privacy and secrecy thing that's going to have to be worked out, because there's, of course, those secret phrases that have to be worked out. Mm-hmm. But cold wallet storage is going to come into big effect. And if there's anything that's happening with like people trying to hack or get into a wallet, or trying to get your secret phrase to do that, the bank institution already has it set up. As soon as they see a tickle going on through the internet or through their system, they just lock that wallet down and open up a new one. It's just like having your Apple card now that you just call in to just get a new number for your card. It's just that very simple. Mm-hmm. So let me try and finish real quick. They get their customers to invest into Bitcoin. They've already bought Bitcoin at X amount. They get their customers to invest. They're able to get payments through percentages on all transactions that you're running through them. Also able to sell their clients the Bitcoin that costs a little more than what they bought it at, and put it into their own banking system. So we're going to move into this area of finance and crypto in a hybrid system. And it's whether you like it or not, because these big institutions are offering it already. So
yeah, I recently saw the Sapphire Reserve card, I think is what it was called, where one of the big banks, they are letting you have a crypto card. And it already has come out. And I was like, whoa, like that just came out of nowhere. It was on like a Times Square billboard.
Yeah, they're giving you $2 if you just sign up. So they're going to give you $5 worth of Bitcoin. And that puts something into your wallet, which means you have something. So you did nothing. You just signed up through your banking system that you already have existing. And then you have a $5 gift given to you. So here's the bug with it growing, and this adoption. Now, remember, all these banking institutions are going to have their clients adopt into wallets and having coin. And what's that going to do? That's going to drive the cost of the coin up. People who early adopt, they're going to see that $5 gift that was given to them. Oh, goodness, it's $7. Imagine had I put any of my money into there. If I had put, $1,000 in, I would have $1,400 right now.
Yeah. So
they're going to see how that works. And then the adoption is going to explode, is where I think about.
Well, before we wrap up, Nigel, Ted, any final thoughts before we say goodbye for the day and come back tomorrow?
I have one. I am looking forward to seeing Kenton and Malachi as they proceed on their journey, being able to use AI to better understand anything that once was not able to be done. So nothing's unimpeachable. No one's beyond being questioned, but it's going to be fascinating when someone tries to explain something that they feel that they are entitled to explain without any explanation. And your sons can just go, well, that's not true. And they have 19,000 citations as to why. And they understand it and they explain it like Roblox. And it just makes complete sense to the everyday person. I think that opportunity where those things meet is going to be incredible, and we're going to level up, which is wonderful.
100%.
Yeah, Kenton and Malachi, man, you guys are the MVPs of the podcast today. And thank you for
Shout out
educating.
after shout out. Thank you guys.
Thank you for educating this, 20-year-old adult.
And
I
forever
want-
21.
Everyone listening to us
yeah.
here at KMY, thank you for joining us. We'll be back again tomorrow, same time. Home of Schoolhouse Radio. We appreciate your attention.